My name is Mercy Wino, daughter of Apostle Wino. Being a PK is good because first and foremost, you get to grow up in a Christian home. You get to know what it's like to be built up in a godly way. You get to live a godly life from a young age until you're all grown up. You have a lot of privileges, I can say. I can sing, but I'm more into the media category and stuff. So you find you get to be appreciated for that because your dad is well known. You actually become famous, to say you're famous. Then when it comes to the demerits, same thing, putting the needs of the church first, and we are all children, so sometimes it's hard to understand, like, so I asked for this, said they don't have, but when it comes to the church they have. So sometimes it's hard to understand. You feel like Papa, your cover. Even in school, you're expected to be Miss Perfect or Mr. Perfect in everything. Find even comparison between other PKs. If you have other PKs in school, for example, like me, people compare me to another PK. Like, no, your friend is doing this, but your friend is like this, but you. So yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel good to be compared to another person. We have subjects that are compulsory in the school, like civic education. You find last time you got higher than the other PK, maybe you got a 78, you got a 65 or something like that. You find the next time she does better than you, like, no, your friend is doing better, and you, where are you? You're lagging behind, you're falling back. There's that comparison that you have because you're PKs, and not just because maybe you know each other, but because you're PKs. You have more of people comparing you, even just classmates. They'll be like, so you're a pastor's kid, this one's also a pastor's kid. You both pray, you both do what? But this one is passing, you are failing. This one is doing what? You are doing what? Recently, I haven't, but there are times. It doesn't mean failing as in failing, but maybe even just getting higher marks than you. Because I can get a 78 and she'll get, let's say, an 8. I didn't fail, but I just got lower marks and she got higher marks. There should be that mass comparison between the two of you. So, restrictions in class. I don't really have restrictions because if you'd meet me in the street or anywhere else, I'll be an introvert, quiet and all that. But if you'd meet me in class, I'm a noisemaker, to say. You'd find I'm this jumpy person. People, they'll be like, sometimes you act like a comedian, sometimes you are calm, sometimes maybe you are jovial, to say, like, you move around, because people used to call us the loitering girls because we move around the school. Find it's break time, you will not find Mercy anywhere in class or around the Form 2 block, but maybe she's at the tuck shop, the hall, the garden, or anywhere else, just moving around the school. And then you find there are people who try to restrict you from doing things because you're a pastor's kid. For example, your friends will be like, you're not supposed to do this because you're a pastor's kid. Maybe they'll be like, you talk too much for a pastor's kid, or you're too jumpy for a pastor's kid, or maybe, what can I say? I move around with a lot of people, so people be like, no, you move around with a lot of people, you're a pastor's kid, we don't know what you're doing, because you find you are with these people, then a restriction that you can find. I have friends at school who argue among themselves, and then you try to be like the person who will bring them back together, but you find them themselves do not want, and then they'll be trying to make you choose like which side you want to fall on. You find it's hard, because okay, this person, I've known her for like a really long time, say 5 years back, and this person, I may have known her for a year, but that bond that you've created is stronger than just a friendship of 1 year. So he finds you're asked to choose which side. At the end of the day, you start having thoughts like, maybe I should just stop talking to both. But again, not talking to both will just cause more problems. So you find it's really hard. I am proud to say that I am a proud Christian, because I feel Christianity is a very free religion, because you get to express yourself freely in a way that you want to worship God. Because in some other religions, they kind of have a specific way that you have to pray, or a specific time that you can pray to God. Sometimes you find you cannot do this, but in Christianity, you find you have more of that freedom. I want to sing this song to God, a worship song, a gospel song, not secular music. You find like I can worship whenever I feel like. If it's praying, I can pray however I feel like it wants to come out. If I want to do a silent prayer, if I want to maybe speak out my heart to the Lord just there, if I want to lie down on the floor, I can do that without worrying that, okay, would they put me as an outcast in this church? Would they maybe forbid me from coming to their church because this is not right? Because you have that freedom to worship in a way that you want to, other than being told on how to worship. Restrictions are there. As a Christian child, as a PK, restrictions are there. For example, like I once asked my mom, this song Rise Up by Andra Day, I asked her, is this a gospel song? And she said no, but doesn't mean a Christian can't sing it, because it's a song for encouragement. There are other types of secular music that I as a PK cannot come to listen to. Even I would restrict myself from that, because it's just not right. Because sometimes you ask yourself, okay, this song that I'm listening to, what's the message behind it? What will it teach me to do? What will it encourage me to do? So yeah, restrictions for music is there. Even I personally restrict myself from listening. Then when it comes to movies, it's not really that bad. I haven't felt like I'm restricted to watch. Maybe just because it's not like I only watch movies based on God. I also watch other movies, action movies, horror movies. So there aren't much of those restrictions when it comes to movies. So yeah, that's all I can say. Yes, I am born again. I've given my life to Christ. I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I believe he died and rose again on the third day. He died for our sins. Though I am not baptized, I believe that baptism is a public demonstration of whether or not a person is born again. And I'd like to make it plain to the people out there who always have high expectations of pastors' kids. We are also ordinary kids. We are just like the other kids that you would find. We are just privileged to be called pastors' kids. You may find us making mistakes, but that doesn't mean that you cannot help us to go into the right direction if we're moving in the wrong direction. We are open for you to come and guide us, because as children we also need supervision. Not because we're pastors' kids, maybe no, because we've grown up in a Christian home, we know everything that we're supposed to do. So maybe you put it to, we don't care whether you are doing this. I'm sure you know. Yes, we do know that maybe we've made a mistake, but we also need some guidance at times. People to guide us, to say, no, what you're doing is wrong, from elders, anyone who's older than us, or anyone who's able to give advice.